Hey YouTube, today I will be playing the Mr. Do series for you. The original Mr. Do was released in the early 80s and it was actually fairly successful. Went on to be ported to every computer in existence at the time. Subsequent games were not quite so successful and the series completely dropped off into oblivion by the end of the 90s. The last release of the Mr. Do series was Neo Mr. Do for the Neo Geo. Anyway, this game looks a little bit like Dig Dug. You're digging through ground and trying to avoid monsters, and you can push objects, which in this case are inexplicably giant apples. At least Dig Dug kind of made sense within the context of the game. One common element to the Mr. Do games is the extra monsters. If you spell out extra with the monsters, then you get an extra life. If you find a rare diamond in one of the games, you get an extra game, which is very unusual for an arcade game. Universal, the maker of Mr. Do, was originally and to this day is still a slot machine manufacturer. They are not related to Universal Studios, the American film company. They've pulled out video games long since then and have concentrated entirely on slot machines. You get the little treat in the center, then an extra monster will appear, accompanied by 3 chomping monsters that will eat apples. Now the apples, unlike in the rocks and Dig Dug, are not fixed in place. You can actually push the apples to place and drop them on enemies, and plus if they only fall one space, then they will survive without breaking. Unfortunately, the enemies can also push them, so there's a risk that the enemy could push an apple on top of your head. If you get the cherries, you have to get them in a do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do to get the 500 point bonus. Cherries are a common theme in Mr. Do, and again, that probably has to do with Universal being a slot machine manufacturer, because cherries are a common theme in every slot machine I've ever seen. So, and I'm about to get an extra monster. Get an extra life, so I get a nice little cutscene here. Go me. Mr. Do is originally supposed to be a snowman. Universal's American staff convinced Universal Japan to market him as a clown. So, Mr. Do games get hectic very, very quickly. The enemies quickly get so that they're faster than you are. They get pretty overwhelming in numbers too. They're very aggressive. Much more aggressive than the monsters in Dig Dug. So. It's real easy to lose out the 500 points for not hitting the cherries just right, unfortunately. The bouncing ball is your main weapon. It doesn't regenerate until you either catch it or until you hit an enemy. And if you hit an enemy, it takes an increasingly long time for it to charge up again. Keep you from over-relying on it. So. Got ambushed by one of the extra monsters, even though their bonuses are just as dangerous as any other enemy. So, I'm just going to finish up this game as best I can. And the enemies can also dig through the soil too, of course. is getting really hectic. Not gonna last much longer, I don't think. At least I'm gonna take a few of them with me. Yay. So that was the original Mr. Do. The subsequent games were not quite as successful, unfortunately, which is why this series has kind of dropped off into oblivion. So, let's move on to our next game, Mr. Do's Castle. Now, this game originally started out as simply a game called Knight vs. Unicorn. But again, Universal's American staff convinced Universal Japan to tie it into Mr. Do because at least they'd have a recognizable property to market with. In this game, again, there's the cherries. Smashing blocks with a hammer. If you get all the cherry blocks in the level, you can move on. Of course, if you kill all the unicorns, which is what those are called, you also move on. In the first couple of levels, just hitting a block out from under a unicorn is enough to kill it. In subsequent levels, you have to drop a block on top of it. Those skull blocks there, if you knock them down, and every block in between them will fall, and any unicorns that are stuck in the holes will die. You get all three of the key blocks, and the unicorns turn into bonus monsters. Those are not dangerous in this game. You can just smash them with a hammer, but you only have a limited time to get them. And plus, you can even stomp on them. Again, this game rapidly gets hectic. In Mr. Do games, there's a hidden diamond in some levels, and if you get the diamond, not only do you get a whole extra game, which is pretty unusual for an arcade game. I've only gotten a couple diamonds. I actually had Mr. Do's Castle at home. Just found it kind of a frustrating game. I definitely preferred the original Mr. Do bit to Mr. Do's Castle, but if you go down to one enemy, then you don't kill it pretty quickly, it turns blue and then it starts lagging other blue enemies that are super fast and can go right over the holes that you punched in the floor. That time. But in this playthrough, I did manage to spell out the word extra. See if I can get that last couple of letters for extra. Now there's a green monster, which I guess is supposed to be a little faster and more aggressive than the orange ones. Hectic and aggressive these monsters get. got the extra flags finally. So I get an extra life. And a little cutscene as always. And I get to go on to the next round. Might not gonna last much longer after this. Yeah, so I'm gonna crash these monsters with the skull blocks. That's what those do, by the way. You can knock back the monsters. See, this is when they blue monsters turn into. Unfortunately, Mr. Duke cannot jump, so I'm pretty much stuck. We don't want to kill the enemies as fast as possible. Especially once you're down to one enemy. And I've cleared this level. If I recall correctly, I didn't make it through level 6 when I played this playthrough. But I'm just gonna try to get as many points as I can before I die. So that's Mr. Dew's castle. So next game we're going to play is Mr. Dew's Wild Ride, which is a really weird game. In fact, I didn't get to play it when it was first in the arcade, so I encountered it much later, maybe a few years ago. In this game, it's a platformer. Mr. Dew is climbing up a roller coaster, and he has to avoid the roller coaster cars. There's the cherries again. Not only do you have to avoid the roller coaster cars under you have to watch your head as well, because the roller coaster car goes through your head, you're going to get killed again. And you can't jump in this game. So, the only way you can escape is by getting on the ladders. The object is to get up to the flag. Watch out for those, any other obstacles. This playthrough won't be very long, so I'm going to move on to the fourth and final game on this video. I never did figure out how to get past that big thing that's going back and forth up here. So you're not going to see me get much further in this game. Yep. And he dies. I just said the heck with this one and just gave up pretty much. I ever saw a home version of this game. I imagine it wasn't terribly popular. Alright. And I died. Like I said, I just got to where I just wanted to move on to the next game pretty quickly. So I didn't really even try this time. At least I got the high score. last game is called Do Run Run. It's a reference to the song by the Crystals from the 1960s, the Do Run Run. Now this game more closely resembles the original Mr. Do than Mr. Do's Castle or Mr. Do's Wild Ride. Your object is again to, your object is to collect dots and cherries or whatnot, as well as to defeat all these enemies that are marching across the screen. And there again are the bonus monsters, same as in any Mr. Do game. Just like in a regular Mr. Do game, you get the energy ball back. You can drop the logs on your enemies. You clear the board whenever you either get all the dots on the screen or when you kill all the enemies on the screen. The snakes can charge across the screen covered in fire. The bugs can only just chase you down rapidly. You get where the enemies are faster than you. Careful log, by the way. If you get hit by the log while trolling, you die. When you encircle dots or stuff, they change into a more valuable treat. They change from cherries to apples to, each of them worth 10 points apiece more than. And the Super Ball charges up as you collect dots, so if you don't have a lot of dots to collect, then your Super Ball is not going to charge very well. I just have to win the level by clearing out all the dots or whatever. And if you get all the spell out extra, you get an extra life, and every once in a while you will find a diamond. You encircle a large area, then it makes the letters appear. I think if you wait a little bit, then the letters change, so if you get a letter that you don't have. Just like in Mr. Do, the little ghost monsters show up with the bonus monster. If you don't kill the bonus monster within a certain period of time, then it runs back into its little nest at the top of the screen. Catch me and kill me. I guess it gave up. You can also push the logs from the top as well as have them roll downwards. See, that's what the snakes do. The monsters will change temporarily into more deadly forms if you let too much time elapse. Actually did pretty well with this playthrough. See what I mean about the enemies getting really fast? Yep, they do. That was arcades back then. They were just sign to really squeeze the quarters out of you. Still miss the arcades though. Back in the day, the arcades were the best gaming experiences to be had. Now, if you backtrack on the white line, then it gets erased. For the fact that there's only one dot left, I would have gotten killed then. And I just now got killed. Anyway. And again. Again, the Super Ball will bounce back and forth until it either hits an enemy or until you catch it again. So if you catch her and doesn't hit an enemy, you won't get back. That was pretty lucky of me. Snake's really bound and determined to kill me. But I got him. I think this is like my best playthrough ever of Mr. Do, or Mr. Do Run Run, sorry. To score an extra life in this playthrough, but I got a really good score apparently. Where they just run you down. There's not much I could have done to escape at that point. Kinda sucks, but it is what it is. And I just scored a lot of points there. Go me. I did get the extra life. Congratulations, you win extra Mr. Do. You gotta love that English that Japanese games at the time usually had. Funny that growing up with that was almost natural. Japanese games didn't feel foreign to me. I played a few European games and they felt more foreign than the Japanese games. One of my videos is a German language game called Nadrol. See if I can make it over 100,000. wasting any time trying to hunt me down now. Yep, I made over 100,000. And I managed to miss everything with that log. That wasn't so awesome. I think I'm gonna die. So, that was Do Run Run. Now, I didn't play Neo Mr. Do on this video. Neo Geo game is a little bit harder to find. So, I don't think this game ever had a home version though.